Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Yang Ma'arif, Tun Tengku Maimun, Daya Zalina, Menteri di Jabatan Perdana Menteri, Yang Ma'arif, Tan Sri Abang Iskandar, Hakim Yang Mulia, Saudara Muhammad Azri dan Jatuh Kuasa, Saudara Syam Diwan, Persidangan LawAsia, rakan-rakan yang saya muliakan. Satu penghormatan dan dapat bersama-sama dalam sidang penting Perundangan Asia, dan saya ucap tahniah kepada Kaunsil Malaysia dan Jatuh Kuasa Chris kerana dapat menyelenggarakan majlis ini dengan berjayanya. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, bringing together such a diverse and formidable assembly of legal minds from across Asia and Pacific is no small feat, and it is indeed an honor to be among you. I would like also to acknowledge the presence of distinguished members of the bench, not the least of whom the holder of the country's highest judicial office, CJ Tun Tengku Maimun. In my years of political office in government and as well as out of government, I think more out of government than in, I've said many things about lawyers and judges, and some of them have been highly critical. Nevertheless, one thing that I have consistently said and maintained is that while the rule of law must prevail, the independence of the judiciary must also remain paramount in upholding the administration of justice without fear or favor. I need not cite the plethora of judicial precedents and authorities to reiterate my unwavering support for the imperative of judicial independence, which is subsumed under the doctrine of separation of powers. These are principles enshrined under the Groom Norm or the basic structure of the Federal Constitution. However, the lessons of history must not be forgotten. In the past, we have seen how this sacrosanct principle has been violated by the powers that be, working hand in glove with the highest judicial office, perverting the cause of justice in order to serve nefarious and vile political ends. But let me firmly declare that enough is enough. That era is over and gone, and that we will never allow such abuse and violations ever to happen again. Ladies and gentlemen, the coming days offer us a timely platform to examine how our legal frameworks must evolve to address the unprecedented advancement in technology that are influencing every aspect of our lives. As we embrace the digital age, it is essential that we balance the winds of change with the wisdom of experience. Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. has famously said that the life of the law has not been logic, it has been experience. You'll agree that in the experience department, I have had a fair share of being subjected to the insolence office, the loss delay, and the gross abuse of power. These machinations have sent me from the halls of power to the labyrinth of incarceration. I do believe I have garnered sufficient credit hours to be considered to be admitted as an honorary member of the bar. You know, I had this rare opportunity to be associated with great luminaries in the legal profession, and back and forth the courts, and I'm serious to be rightfully considered. Thank you. No, don't take me seriously. Now, judicial and legal reform must be reflected as the nation advances with the changing times for development and progress. We should neither be held hostage to the views and demands of the elite, nor succumb to the dictates of pressure groups serving the interests of the rich and powerful. And there has relevance to the issue raised by the various speakers on digitalization and AI. In my exchanges with the heads of NVIDIA, Microsoft, and Google, and others, as placed Malaysia as one of the important hub of data centers and AI, and also hub for semiconductor. The one interesting question that I will not fail to ask is AI serving the cause of humanity or sectoral group of powers that be, particularly the industrialized rich countries? Now, the answer is consistent from all these stake players. Number one, it depends on our capability to understand, appreciate, and give the desired input. Because AI is devoid of faith and values. It will only serve and respond according to subjects, materials submitted to it. So, to answer the question raised by Yama Arif, I think it is in with respect on the issue of strawberry, AI has been taught to spell according to the correct pronunciation. If you pronounce strawberry, it's only 2 R's, so AI is quite correct. I'm not suggesting that CJ is wrong. I will be in trouble if I say that. But the context must be well understood. And that question, CJ, has raised eyebrows among linguists. How to proceed with AI in the context of AI being the having this so-called expertise in terms of language and grammar. So they are grappling with it. Incidentally, I've just allocated some funds for our universities to look at the possibility of increasing the translation efforts in this country into Bahasa and other languages. And this issue was raised. The most successful among developing or emerging economies is, of course, the Sheikh Zayed AI University in Abu Dhabi. So there are issues, but which means among the legal fraternity, in the judiciary, and the experts, we must train indigenous talents to be able to appreciate the importance of this change and to give the desired inputs into the AI. Otherwise, the issues of justice or law or reform of understanding will be geared solely or not entirely according to the Western values and norms. And this may result in some problems. Many of the issues in law and justice are universal, no doubt. But there are issues concerned in terms of in our values, be it Asian values or religious values, which must be considered. And I think that was duly reflected by the CJ's point about the capacity of, finally, the judges to adjudicate. Now, like skilled sailors navigating uncharted waters, see, like waters. You say waters or water? I remember this experience. I was briefly at Oxford before I went to teach at Georgetown. And of course, we go to this small restaurants and sit down, and the waiter will ask, "Yes, sir?" I said, "Water, please." He said, "What?" I said, "Water, please." "What?" I said, "I showed the water bottle." "You mean water?" See? And they insist that they are right. When my stock change in Oxford didn't help. And this will reflect also in our capacity to address AI in terms of the correct pronunciation. Now, so we must guide our laws through the rapid tides of innovation while keeping the ship of justice steady. This is another fundamental issue. In this regard, the challenge is not simply to apply existing laws to new contexts, but to proactively anticipate future developments, ensuring that our legal systems are adaptable and responsive. Now, the legal profession plays a critical role in this evolution, working closely with policymakers and stakeholders to design frameworks that encourage innovation while safeguarding justice and equity. This is another major problem when we deal with digitalization and AI, because without clear intervention by the authorities, it will lead to further gap between the elites and the masses. Because invariably, only the select few will have the capacity to master this new technology, and this principle must be accepted and effort must be done by all government, ministries, and the legal fraternity to ensure that this further democratize in terms of democratization of access to quality technology. Now, this changing landscape requires us to rethink whether our laws are adequate to protect privacy, security, public trust, and more importantly, whether judicial decisions can serve nation's interests in the name of justice in the long run. Dura lex sed lex. Though the law is harsh, it is still the law. So goes the maxim. But to my mind, equity and good conscience should prevail when it becomes clear that strict application of such a doctrine will lead to injustice. In this vein, I strongly believe that our laws must be flexible yet robust, capable of safeguarding individual rights while promoting creativity and innovation. Further, there must be a balance between private rights on the one hand and the public and societal interests on the other. A legal system that is too rigid or a judgment that is made without due consideration of public policy, repercussions will not only stifle progress, but risk eroding public trust and causing injustice. By way of comparison, in other jurisdictions, such as Sharia law, the doctrine of istihsan or equity allows for juristic discretion when and if it serves the cause of justice. In making this call, I do not even for a moment suggest that the law of chaos and uncertainty rule the roost, rather than striking the right balance is essential to ensuring that our judicial and legal systems remains dynamic and robust. As Roscoe Pound, renowned for sociological jurisprudence, once said, law must be stable and yet it cannot stand still. Hence, all thinking about law has struggled to reconcile the conflicting demands of the need of stability and the need of change. In this regard, by way of example, many jurisdictions in advanced economies have moved with the times to balance between the freedom of contract and the demand of contractual justice. In many cases, contractual justice prevails. The broader context of applying such a principle is that it could well cut across adjudication in matters pertaining to the law of torts, as well as trust and equity, or even constitutional and administrative law. While lawyers are professionally bound to serve their clients to the best of their ability, I've seen it in my case, Mark Trowell is there, it is crucial to let conscience be our guide, ensuring that fairness, truth, and the rule of law remain at the core of every decision. In other words, lawyers do have a higher calling, that is to uphold justice, which is a duty enjoined by the spirit of the law as well as rich tradition. Whether in the bar or the bench, the spirit of the law and the demands of justice must never be lost. As the saying goes, fiat justitia rude wat caelum. Let justice be done, though the heavens may fall. Heavens have never fallen, but justice has failed on many occasions. A maxim, though common enough, yet it bears constant reminding. Now, presiding over cases, especially under immense pressure, and while navigating sensitive issues, requires tremendous courage. A judge and judges stand as the pillars of justice, upholding the law without fear or favor, and remaining unflinching in the face of adverse popular opinion. Now, cynics will say, leave that job to the politicians, for they are practitioners par excellence in playing to the gallery. Now, in all earnestness, I say this should not be so. Even for politicians, if they are indeed true to their calling, which is to serve the rakyat for the greater good of the nation. Many times, though, decisions have to be made, but do we make them for succumbing to political expediency in order to become popular, or do we take the bull by the horns? In this regard, as a responsible government, we took the unpopular course of action just last May by deciding to implement the diesel subsidy rationalization plan. Certainly not popular, but of utmost necessity. Otherwise, we'll continue to subsidize the rich together with the obsolete rationalization program. Rather than merely playing lip service while doing nothing because of the fear of being unpopular, as previous governments had done, we walked the talk to summon firm political courage to do what our moral dictates demand. In this vein, being committed to the highest standards of responsibility and accountability and to social justice, will continue to proceed boldly on the course of structural reform. Not doing so would be a dereliction of the moral duty of good and responsible governance. As digital trade continues to expand, it is crucial that we develop regular frameworks that facilitate cross-border data flows while ensuring robust protections for privacy and data security. In addressing these challenges, we must balance innovation with regulation, fostering consumer trust and supporting the legal recognition of electronic transactions in the global economy. I'm proud to note that Malaysia has established a digital ministry to lead our nation's digital transformation. And thank you, because the Malaysian Bar has been a proactive partner in this effort, offering its expertise in shaping the regulation of artificial intelligence and other emerging technologies. This partnership highlights how the legal profession can play a vital role in shaping Malaysia's digital future. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to recommendations on the comprehensive digital roadmap, taking into consideration the issue of justice and equity and values, because that will guide the legal sector's progress and ensure its continued relevance in an increasingly digital world. Malaysia is advancing rapidly in digital transformation, gaining recognition as a hub for critical, cutting-edge technologies in Southeast Asia. Additionally, we must engage in multilateral dialogues to forge international agreements that foster economic growth while fortifying our legal institutions. I call upon esteemed members of the legal fraternity across Asia and the Pacific, through LawAsia, to harness our shared values and diverse perspectives as we work together to address the cross-border legal challenges of the digital age. I've just returned, as you know, from the ASEAN Summit in Vientiane, where I met leaders from Premier Lee Chiang to Prime Minister Modi to others, ASEAN and our neighbors, including Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. Of course, we discussed, among others, issues of digitalization and challenges of AI. And we are fortunate, despite our strong views on the issues of humanitarian values, of the hypocrisy and the contradiction between the treatment of Ukraine and Gaza, and our strong rebuke against, again, the issue of hypocrisy in allowing gross atrocities in Gaza. We still had a very cordial meeting with Secretary Anthony Blinken, and Malaysia remains a very attractive destination for foreign investments, those China, India, but more so United States of America. And that, I believe, is partly due to political stability and a trust in the judicial system and an efficient manner in conducting the affairs of our government. So sekali lagi saya ucap terima kasih kepada Majlis Peguam dan LawAsia, dan doakan mudah-mudahan kejayaan besar dalam mencapai natijah yang bermanfaat bagi negara dan dunia. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.